My name is Becky Singleton. I'm a single mom of two fantastic daughters who are super talented. An entrepreneur, a health and fitness coach, and I walk my own talk by working out every day. Motivational speaking, Reiki practitioner healer are some of the things I love to do. I've survived cancer. I'm also an agent of change at the highest level. But what I enjoy the most is cooking for the ones that I love. So join me in leveling up and being more happy, healthy, and fit. Hi everybody, it's Becky Singleton again on Happy, Healthy, and Fit. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to talk about how I started swimming. I'm going to talk about some of my fears and concerns I had when I first started swimming. You're going to meet my coach, Coach Gilbert from ShAC, and we're going to just show you how you can get started and maybe you're overcoming some fears or some concerns you have when it comes to the water. So before we start, I want to make sure we all remember to social distance, to wash our hands for 20 seconds, and to please wear your masks in public. Thank you so much, and here we go with Happy, Healthy, and Fit. Everybody, so we're on Happy, Healthy, and Fit, and I have Coach Gilbert with us today from ShAC, the Swim Houston Aquatic Center here in Houston, Texas. Coach and I have been working closely together, and he helps me with my swimming skills, and we're going to show you some of those skills in a few minutes. But first, I want to talk a little bit about when I first started to swim. I was an older adult. I was 50 years old when I learned how to swim. And that is maybe to some people unusual, and it's never too late to learn how to swim. So I want to encourage anybody at any age to learn how to swim. We've been talking about this in the last few series, and it's important because swimming at any time is something that you can do. So I want to go and boogie board and surf. I want to go to Hawaii and get on a surfboard, but I want to make sure my swimming skills are intact so I can do that. So one of the things I wanted to talk to Coach about is how they really encouraged me when I first started to swim. The water is 6 feet, correct? 6.5 feet. I'm not 6.5 feet tall, which means that I can't touch the bottom without the water being over my head. So I can't, in the middle of swimming, just stop. Otherwise I'll, jump down. So some of the things that I know that you have helped me with was to kind of, when I'm in the water in a freestyle position, which is a standard swim position, right? To keep my chest down and to be able to glide across the water, and using my hands, I use paddles, and to breathe properly. So as someone's getting into the water for the first time, let's talk about that whole face going in the water, that feeling of blowing out of air.
I think the biggest concern most adults learning how to swim is the fear of water. That's half the battle. So once they conquer that, it's what you do in the water. You really, as you said, you weren't that afraid of the water, but you just didn't know what to do. So the movements are simple enough that you can learn how to swim by just doing those simple things just to swim. And as I said, body position, arm movements, the leg movements can be learned quite easily. But overcoming the fear, once you get that, you're halfway there.
So the fear, as Coach mentioned, we were talking earlier, I wasn't afraid of the water. I just didn't know what to do in the water. I did my little doggy paddle. I could do a little movement, but I didn't feel comfortable sticking my face in the water and gliding across. I admired people that could swim across and turn their head, and I wasn't able to do that. So now that I'm able to do that, I'm like, I feel mighty. It really empowered me to feel like I could keep going and doing more. So when we put the face in the water, how many strokes would you recommend that I do before I turn?
And the individual preference between 2 to 4 strokes. Some people are comfortable just breathing on one side. Some people are comfortable breathing on both sides. So it's more closely mimicking the breathing out of the water.
Yes.
So the more you can come close to that in the water, the further you can swim without getting too tired, because the breathing is the biggest factor that whether you swim just 10 yards or 2,500 yards.
Right.
So once you learn the breathing pattern that is comfortable for you, then you can sustain an extended amount of time swimming, because the movements are so basic and it's not strenuous. But the breathing is the limiting factor how far you can swim without
Yes.
stopping.
Yes. So I will tell you, because I work out every day, my lung capacity, even after the COVID debacle I've had, I still have a good breathing capacity to hold breath. So I tend to do 4 strokes before I turn my head, which means 1, 2, and then I'm turning. And I do only have one side that I feel comfortable turning at this point. I haven't quite been able to do the other side yet, but everything that you work towards, you can improve on. So that's a goal that I have, is to improve on actually turning each side.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
you never stop learning.
No, and it's an ongoing process that the more you spend time in the water, the more comfortable you get. Picking up the skill, it gets easier. It's just repetition. Unlike other sports, you have to be in the water.
Yes.
It's not a land-based sport that you can pick up a ball and do whatever. Swimming, you have to be in the water to practice and repetition. Well, but as I said, once you get the breathing pattern down, once you start with 1 lap, then you add a second one, and eventually it becomes natural.
Yes, and I will tell you that's absolutely 100 true, because once I started to be able to breathe and go and do laps, it was amazing. I can do laps. And when I think back at watching people, I used to wonder, how can they do that? So once you get the breathing is number 1. And it may take a second, but for someone who did not know how to swim, I can tell you, and you'll see, I'll turn my head and I'm grabbing that breath to continue to get me 4 more strokes, and then I breathe again. You can do that. Fear is probably, for me, one of the most disabilities that people take on, and probably not justifiable. We take fear in places we don't need to, and I always encourage people, if fear comes on, I want you to walk towards that fear. So when I was afraid, I just said, I'm going to do this because I want to accomplish this goal. I'm not being afraid to put my face in the water and turn and get some oxygen. And once I overcame that fear, I felt empowered. So, sometimes, again, we use things because we're unsure, we're unaware, but fear is the lowest energy that we want to take on. So we're not going to do that. We're going to walk through towards our fear and eliminate it. And that's what swimming has done for me. Let's talk about what we're going to do today.
We're going to work on the freestyle part of your swimming and learning how to relax when you take that breath, because breathing helps the swimmer more relaxed if it's done correctly at the least amount of effort. It's human nature, the fear of not being able to breathe terrifies.
Yes.
So by able to swim and regularly breathe comfortably makes you do laps correctly. And then once you do that, the other technical part of the stroke becomes easier to pick up, because that putting your face in the water and then breathing is taken care of.
Well, you're going to start to see what we're going to do next. I'm actually going to get into the water, and you're going to see me swim, and I hope that this encourages you. I've been swimming now for 5 years, and I just crave it. I want to do it. I carry my swim bag when I travel in hopes that there's a pool wherever I'm staying, and it's so enjoyable. And as I'm aging, even though I feel like I'm 40, I'm knowing that the water is allowing my body to continue to move and gain strength and power internally. It's also preserving it, because the water is the benefit. When you have zero gravity in water, it actually is better for your body as you age. So water is just a great tool to keep moving at any age, especially as you age, okay? So join us and we're gonna get ready to get into the pool, and here we go.
Now let's get started. Freestyle, we're gonna focus on head and body position in the water because that's important in order to propel across the pool. So try to look down, point your nose down at the bottom of the pool. By doing that, it presses your chest down and gets your lower body up, be more balanced in the pool, a balanced position as you go through the water.
Communication is key, and trust is what we need. Hey, but something so simple always tends to be so complicated. I don't wanna fight this war. I can't even cry no more, no more. I'm starting to feel now my body's present, but I'm not here. And all my
She's holding a pool buoy, and this is a good training device to establish a good body position in the water, to work on the body rotation, to make breathing a little bit easier. And as you get proficient, you can do it without a pull buoy, but also it's a good training tool for isolating the upper body only and not using the lower body. So Miss Becky will show us how to do it.
This isn't what I wanted with you. Tell me, am I losing you? Tell me what is left to prove. If I'm just going to lose you. How do we get here? I'm trying to understand why we cannot sit down and just make a simple plan. What we were and how we are just ain't working out for me. Yeah, I know more. Maybe I should try to close the door.
So I hope you watching me swim will encourage you to do swimming or learn how to swim. It's a great exercise. It's great for your body. I want you to try it if you can. Okay, so thank you for joining. You know I want you to be happy, healthy, and fit. I'm Becky Singleton, and I'm just like you.